Deadpool! Now this movie was very cleverly crafted. Yes, I managed to say it very slowly. But never mind! This movie had some really crude jokes, but they were funny. It made the movie work. As a film, I might not have been as willingly watching this movie as I intended to be. I was really hyped about this movie. It wasn't the best movie I've seen this year, definitely, and I've only seen a few. But the humour was amazing. This movie is trying to tie in X-Men with the Avengers and just saying that they're both present. This is a spoiler review, so cover your ears or turn it off if you haven't watched it yet. But you should have watched it. If you're not a Marvel fan, I probably wouldn't recommend you go and watch this movie. But then if you're not a Marvel fan, then what the hell are you doing with your life? You should be a Marvel fan, for God's sake. I think this movie does quite well what it's trying to do. It's trying to be a romantic film with, obviously, you got Deadpool and then his girlfriend, who is sort of a prostitute and stripper. And that part of the movie's not really clear. He's, not sort of really in love with her at the start and then, risks his whole life for her at the end. That part of the story doesn't really work. And then he's also trying to get revenge on the guy who made him absolutely ugly. His face is, as I quote, unable. If that wasn't clear enough to you, that's the guy who made him a superhero but inflicted a lot of pain and torture to his body to mutate his cells into a mutant. So he's pretty much just an X-Men, he's a mutant. One of my favourite parts of this movie was the beginning of the film, where they have the titles, normally you got all the names and it's a really long intro. This movie was a still frame of Deadpool in the car that he's crashing and killing lots of people, and it's got pictures of him as Green Lantern and him as Deadpool shooting people, and it's got a real crossover with saying his bad career path with Green Lantern, which we completely forget about, and the original Wolverine Origins Deadpool, which we can also completely forget about, with the stitched up him and him with the two swords going whoosh, which I actually thought was really cool, and that wasn't in the movie at all. He was very good with the gun. He's got 12 rounds in a bullet and kills 3 people with 1 bullet, which was all really cool. But then when it comes to the sword fighting, it wasn't quick enough. It was vroom, vroom. In the Wolverine Origins, which I understand a lot of people don't like, he was actually really cool with the swords, going really fast, round and round and round, which I didn't see in this movie, which I was a bit shocked about. But I'm just going to get back to the humour. This movie was hilarious in some bits. You got all sorts of crude humour. It should definitely be a 15 and not a 12 or 13 PG. It definitely needs to be a 15, but this movie is hilarious. Maybe not the best. The dialogue was pretty good and that made it funny, but not the best storyline, maybe. But that doesn't matter. It's got the Avengers helicarrier in it, which is amazing. That's a tie-in from X-Men to Avengers I was talking about earlier. It's showing you the Avengers world exists with the X-Men world. So they might cross over, I'm not really sure. But it's just getting them level. So they're on the same planet, on the same year, and all that stuff. I really like the way they entwined Colossus and the teenage girl into this movie. I did really find it really funny when Deadpool went to Xavier's school and he knocked at the door and he's Colossus comes out and he's like, "Hi, Deadpool." And Deadpool replies, "It's funny how this is such a giant house, but I only ever see you two. It's like the producer of this movie thought it was too expensive to have any other X-Men," which is just really funny. And there's another scene, the final big fight scene, which wasn't that much of a big fight. There was some really good bits of humour, but it wasn't a big fight. This movie you don't go to see to watch Deadpool fighting people. I mean, occasionally you do, but it's more for the humour of the movie. This scene is where Deadpool gets really excited about another mutant jumping from the helicarrier to the floor. And this is the scene now.
Okay. You're gonna do a superhero landing. Wait for it! Woo! Superhero landing!
Yeah, it's really hard on your knees.
Totally impractical. They all do it.
This is then followed by another good scene, which I can't find on YouTube, where obviously you've got Colossus running up, and Deadpool said, "Oh, you're too much man for me," to the woman. And Colossus runs up, goes to punch her, but the woman punched him away. And this massive metal man flies backwards. So then Deadpool goes, That's why I bought her. Turns to the girl and she's on her phone tweeting what she's about to do. I'm about to be out of girl. She's like, oh no, finish your tweet. Wait for it. Go get it, Tiger. Nah. And then she turns into a... She is the coolest X-Men I've ever seen, and I don't know why she's in the movie, not in any of the X-Men movies. She has a ball of fire around her, and she pretty much makes explosions. She explodes, not obviously her, but around her is a massive explosion. That is her power, which is the most awesome power I've ever seen in an X-Men character. And Wolverine's pretty cool, but that's awesome. I want to see her in future movies, and I'm sure she will be with Deadpool and Colossus again, because that worked. Now, Colossus reminded me a lot of the Terminator, and that's sort of his voice. It probably was him, but I doubt it very highly. I don't know. I didn't look at the title scene at the end. But no, I thought it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. It really did sound like him, and he acted like him. But I wouldn't have thought it would be, because in a film, Arnold Schwarzenegger is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Always, it's his character. But anyway, Deadpool, you've heard my thoughts. I would rate it a 5. Clearly because the movie was pretty terrible. The humour in it really, really did it some justice. I loved the humour. It was pretty much kick-ass. The film is terrible, but the humour is funny, so it's watchable. Thank you for watching today's review. Again, watch my channel trailer if you haven't watched it now. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.